glorious music can only mean one thing: Champions League football. Matchday 4 in Europe's most elite competition got underway earlier today, and some powerhouses of the game were on show. One of those powerhouses was Newcastle, who were visiting Signal Iduna Park looking to avenge their loss against Borussia Dortmund last time out. We have the highlights.
Borussia Dortmund in the midst of that 18th Champions League campaign up against Newcastle United. Turn from Fulkrug, now Adeyemi. Here's Brandt. Brandt takes the shots and blows us over for Borussia Dortmund. Sabitzer has found Adeyemi. Pope with another save. Thousands of them still doing that because they couldn't get tickets for the game. Fingernail biting territory for them now. Hall gets across. Chance here, Sabitzer across and in by Fulkrug. Sabitzer's flick. And then his cross. And the simplest of tasks for Fulkrug to supply the finish. Real promise here for Dortmund. With Brandt. Sabitzer alongside him. Brandt goes himself! A brilliant finish from Julian Brandt. It all came from that Trippier free kick. The 2-on-1. You wondered whether Brandt was used Sabitzer. But given the form he is in, he was not of a mind to do that. And this is a right-footed player finishing. Livramento. Needed saving.
All right, so Borussia Dortmund denting Newcastle United's Champions League, of course, aspirations and their hopes. So, Ricardo, today we saw a Borussia Dortmund team that has really stamped their name, stamped their authority in the Champions League. The first goal coming from Nicolas Fulkrug and the second from Julian Brandt. And what I think is Newcastle, they looked a bit tired. They looked a bit worn out. Did you get that same assessment from the way they played? And
understandably so. They have a depleted squad at the moment, around 7 or 8 players that could easily have started in this Newcastle setup unavailable to Eddie Howe. And that was always going to be a problem for this Newcastle setup. And remember, they've had tough games in the last week in the Catwell. Tough is relative. I was going to say in the Carabao Cup and in the English Premier League, and coming off at least one tough game at the weekend in the English Premier League. And you saw it as well. Eddie Howe deciding not to start Anthony Gordon, not to start Almiron. And when they did come on in the second half, it gave Manchester City some amount of, well, not Manchester City. Why am I thinking Manchester City? It gave Newcastle some amount of impetus, but they could not get that goal that they needed. An important moment in the game for me, Lance and Mariah, the 56th minute. Joe Linton with an opportunity to head Newcastle into a 1-0 scoreline and missing wide. In the moment, I felt like it was a massive moment in the match, and that's how it turned out to be, because as Newcastle pushed for the equalizer, that's when Dortmund was able to counter and get the second goal and finish off the match. Very tough for Newcastle because they had a fabulous start to their Champions League campaign, a draw and a big victory over PSG, and now it is looking as if they're going to be the ones on the outside looking in when it is all said and done, unless they can get another big result this time at PSG.
Yeah, well, that seems highly unlikely. As you mentioned, 7 players being out because of injury. Sandro Tonali facing a 10-month suspension. We spoke about that on the SportsMax zone already. So a lot of their players that would have contributed to good results before have been missing. So they play PSG in the final match. And Ricardo, if they lose that match, they'll end up at the bottom of the group because of how AC Milan has played previously. So I think the chances are looking extremely dim. I don't see them going across the PSG and winning. Do you?
Well, we're still some way away from that. So, I mean, let's see how things play out in terms of how many players actually do come off the injury list by the time that match comes around. Definitely they will need reinforcements, because if they continue to play with the depleted squad that they have now, it will be extremely difficult. The truth is, even with some of their best players back, it will be difficult, but it will be even more difficult without them.
Yeah, well, speaking about PSG, French champions, PSG were seeking to once again get the better of AC Milan as they travel to Italy to face the European giants at the San Siro.
And off we go in this crucial game in Group F. Much will depend for the home side on this man. Rafael Leao, easily dealt with by the goalkeeper, but he can be a sparkling match winner when he wants to be. He's an ever-present this season, Leao. Breezes beyond one. Decent ball in, big chance. Goodness me, that's a big chance for Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Loftus-Cheek, he has to lead him back, doesn't get his knee over the ball. Big chance for a player of his quality.
Now Dembele, Hakimi on the outside, into Mbappe.
There's the threat of PSG on the counter-attack. Pace from Dembele.
Dembele on the outside, just clipped off the heels of Yunus Musa. Corner kick to PSG. Should do, shouldn't he? Big man in there. 6'2", bouncing on his toes. Marquinhos heads it onto him, Skriniar. And Milan look to a flag that doesn't come. And he does get his first goal for PSG, and they lead inside 8.5 minutes.
Marquinhos that wins it at the near post. Skriniar, the other centre-half, winning it at the back post. Just the start that PSG would have wanted.
Terrible defending. From the New York-born Musa, moved to Italy as a baby, then to England. That's where he went to Arsenal. Is an opportunity now. Giroud bearing down. Taught by the goalkeeper, and in the overhead for Rafael Leao. As Paris Saint-Germain stood and watched. He took advantage.
Good strike. There you can see, I think he just sticks a leg out. Donnarumma's going one way, can't stop himself, can't get a hand to it.
To be pushed out by Zaire Emery here, and on it goes to Mbappe. Beats the goalkeeper, but beats the post. Thinks he might have been nudged, has a cursory look at the referee.
Certainly not offside. Was there a little shove? No, it was after the ball had already been played, I think. Makes a mess of it, Mbappe. Just trying to get his foot underneath it.
And against Lucas Hernandez, did really well, really well. That's what he can do so well. The cross was looking for Leao, who might got a piece there of Hakimi. On we go. Theo Hernandez back into the middle, brilliant cross, brilliant header. Olivier Giroud, Milan lead Paris Saint-Germain 2-1.
What a cross this is into the box. Skriniar has to do better up against Olivier Giroud. Giroud jumps early. What a header.
Good game, the Spanish referee. Zaire Emery. Barcelona. And I don't think they'll get another chance, PSG. And what a win here this is for Milan. They knew they couldn't lose. The great Franco Baresi watches on as they get a vital win. And it puts them right back into contention for qualification.
An invaluable win there for AC Milan against PSG to, of course, ensure that they continue contending for that Champions League trophy.
Yeah, and Olivier doing Giroud things, and it has really left this group wide open now, with Dortmund leading on 7 points, PSG on 6, AC Milan on 5, and Newcastle on 4. And the next match day 5, will be so crucial, because it will be PSG up against Dortmund, top of the table clash, that one, and then Newcastle will take on AC Milan. And if Newcastle can get a result there, then they're right back into business in trying to get to the knockout stage. So massive result for AC Milan, but that gives Newcastle, in my opinion, more of a chance going forward to try and get out of this group.
Well, just 3 points separating first from last in the group at the moment. But another worrying development overnight, though, a PSG fan was stabbed in Milan last night and hospitalized. And remember, when Newcastle had gone there to play back in October, there was a Newcastle fan stabbed as well. And UEFA and football authorities continue to grapple with these violent instances in football, which you don't want.
Yeah, definitely not something you want to hear, because you want to be sitting here and talking about the football and the quality of the football and the glory that is the Champions League. So, real unfortunate news, Lance.
And I find these news are cropping up too often, as if, you know, we're constantly hearing people innocently going to look at football matches and either becoming injured, they're harmed, or they lose their life. So, but all that aside, we'll continue to keep you updated with all the latest in Champions League. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come right back. And we're back with more Champions League football on the SportsMax zone. Reigning Champions League winners Manchester City confirmed their round of 16 berth with a victory at home against Young Boys. We have the highlights.
Holders Manchester City looking for win number 4, and with it safe passage into the knockout stages. Oh, it's a lovely ball. Grealish is in. Haaland waits in the middle, and here's Lewis, and it's off the line. Superb clearance. Beaten 2-1 by Basel, but it was the second leg of a round 16 game, and they had already won the first easily as Haaland has a go. Now Haaland. Oh, beautiful ball. Kovacic is in. It might fall for Lewis, who was on his heels. City will shout for a penalty. Now, what's the decision here? It's going to be Walker to hammer, and Foden, and 2 fine saves from Rashovi. And it is going to be relentless. It's Foden, slightly behind Lewis. Oh, that's an untidy challenge, and that's a penalty. Laupra, I think it was. Mateus Nunes goes down. This time it was the right side of that line. The man who was a big doubt with ankle injury before the game scores the first goal of the game. Mateus Nunes, they're just quickening up here. That was late from Garcia. Referee might come back to that, but in the meantime it's Foden. Walker on the overlap. Walker's cross. Haaland is there. Didn't make the contact he needed to or wanted to. Searching out Foden. Trying to get beyond camera. And he has done, and he scored. Brilliant stuff from Phil Foden. Right on the stroke of half-time, just as Young Boys thought that they had made it through to the break with just a 1-goal deficit. Foden then burst beyond Garcia, got himself in the penalty area and steered the ball cleverly into the bottom corner, away from Rashopi. All left foot, but deadly accurate at the end of it all. Lewis for Haaland. Kovacic told to get out of the way, and that's why! What a hit from Erling Haaland. Could not have hit it any better. Could not have got the angle any better either. A cross goal right into the far corner. We're talking seconds now. We're talking the end of the match now as the final whistle is blown. Familiar story, a comfortable win for Manchester City and a familiar goal scorer. Another 2 for Erling Haaland.
Manchester City getting the job done with ease. I have to agree with Jack Grealish, though. He was saying that it should have had some more goals.
Wait, you're greedy.
Well, I'm so greedy that I even tied up my tongue just now to express what I wanted to say. Go ahead, Ricardo.
Yeah, it could have been so many more goals, though.
Yeah.
Another clinical, another fabulous Manchester City footballing performance, just dominating play, and the Young Boys having absolutely no answer to what they had to offer. Great from a Manchester City perspective to see Erling Haaland back, because remember he left the English Premier League game against Bournemouth at the weekend at half-time, and there were concerns about his fitness coming into this match. Apparently he looked good at training yesterday. He was moving well, and so the decision was taken to start him today. And what a decision it was. Put away the penalty with aplomb, and Lance has described his goal as a class moment. Really a fabulous goal from Phil Foden as well, to put Manchester City 2-0 up. But yeah, Manchester City playing with a lot of confidence again, I would say, after a few matches where they didn't quite look themselves. But once again, Pep Guardiola working things out, and different players are coming to the party in different games, which is what we have seen from vintage Manchester City. And yeah, they're definitely looking good. Young boys, too young for this type of quality.
And Erling Haaland getting his goal tally in the Champions League, 39 goals in 34 games. Yes, he had that ankle niggle on the weekend, but he's really unstoppable, and he decides how much goals he's going to score. He decides how dominant he's going to be in whichever competition he takes part in.
Yeah, a masterclass by Man City, and the stats suggesting they had 27 goal attempts today. Young boys had 0, so that tells you how lopsided the fixture was. Particularly impressed with the Erling Haaland goal though, because his body shape based on his dribbling across, he was dribbling laterally to the goal, and he had drifted towards the left side of the goal. So the technique to get that goal to the left of the goalkeeper, the shot to the left of the goalkeeper, shows real quality and strength, physical strength. You mentioned, Ricardo, off here that part of his prowess as a forward is his physical strength. And I'm very impressed. The Foden goal was brilliant as well. Man City undefeated now in 25 home games in the UCL, and they look pretty solid, I have to say.
Yeah, and by the way, this Group G is decided now. Both Manchester City and Leipzig through to the round of 16. The other two teams in the group don't have a chance of advancing, both on a point, and they can't get to City on 12 or Leipzig on 9.
Yeah, well, which group is not decided? We had Barcelona. They were denied early qualification as they struggled to Shakhtar Donetsk. Let's take a look at the highlights, how that one panned out.
Kitsky spotting the run in behind. Matvienko, saved by ter Stegen. And Zubkov didn't catch it. João Cancelo. Rafinha. Sudakov. No one putting him under pressure. And that is an absolutely tremendous ball. Goteleshvili. Oh, it's there! Danilo Sikan! No one getting anywhere near the Shakhtar players. Pinpoint cross. And Sikan guiding the header beyond Marc-Andre ter Stegen. His third goal in the Champions League. Newton. Flagger stayed down. Newton! Slams it into the back of the net, but the flag is up. Christensen, that's a lovely ball. João Felix. Balder, time to measure the cross. Gundogan. Shut down. Comes the cross. Lewandowski. And a lucky ricochet. All over. A result for the ages. Barca beaten by Shakhtar Donetsk.
Xavi looking really disappointed, and rightfully so, based on the performance or non-performance from Barcelona today. And of course, the players that have been stepping up in La Liga, they failed to convert their chances today, and just all-round disappointing.
Yeah, first defeat against Shakhtar since 2008, so snapping that 4-game loss streak against Barcelona, and the winning goal from Sekan. I think that goal deserves to be a winner. I think that's a real quality header. It's not easy from that position with a defender on you as well to get enough power and the precision as well to get that into the left corner. I thought that was a real quality goal and deserving of 3 points for Shakhtar to keep them in it and deny Barcelona early qualification. Of course, they are still fully well expected to make it to the round of 16. But of course, there is an advantage, yeah, fabulous goal that. There is an advantage, Lance and Mariah, to getting qualification out the way as early as possible, because it means that if you need to, you can rest players going forward and so on for the remaining group matches, and Barcelona will still have qualification to confirm with 2 rounds of matches to come.
Yeah, they remain top of Group H with 10 points, so they have that opportunity. I think this is probably the
9
shake-up.
points.
9 points?
Yeah.
I'm just checking the stats on BBC.
Yeah, 9 points, 3 wins and today's defeat.
All right, so there's an error in this article. But yeah, of course, I think this loss came at the right time because it's a reality check for them. Because one of the things with teams and when the players are young, you know, you can become complacent after win after win. So I think this could have a positive effect on the Barcelona setup and can cause them to improve moving forward. What did you make of it, Lance?
Yeah, it's a defeat that they didn't want, as Ricardo pointed out correctly, that they would want to sew things up early in the same way that Man City and some other teams would have earlier. And, you know, they only lost their unbeaten tag in La Liga 2 weekends ago in the El Clasico lost to Real Madrid. So 2 defeats now in the space of 2 weeks for Barcelona. And this one, unexpected, albeit it was a champion goal that beat them.
Yeah.
You know, and to be honest, the Ukrainian team played well today.
Yeah, they certainly did. So Barcelona 9 points, Porto in this group as well.
9.
Also on 9 points. They had Antwerp today and got the better of them, and Shakhtar now on 6 points, so not decided yet. And there's another tight group. Atletico Madrid winning today. They have 8 points to lead Group E ahead of Lazio on 7, Feyenoord on 6. Celtic, after today's hammering, what was it, 6-0?
Yeah, Morata and Griezmann getting braces.
Yeah, can say goodbye to any hopes of qualifying for the knockouts. Guess who is playing tomorrow, Lance and Mariah?
And how about we not guess?
The greatest team in Europe.
Let's go to break. I think he's getting sick. I think
He's talking about Real Madrid, isn't he?
Must be. Break time.